Hello, it's John here for another 850 tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be using Photoshop and looking at how it uses 3D projection to try and create a seamless texture. So that's what we're going to do. Let's jump straight in and get doing it. So here is a photo of a rock texture that I would like to make a bit more seamless. So if I was to like loop it, tile it, wrap it around something, this is what I'd be using. Okay, so before we get going into this, what I want you to think about and what you should be thinking about first is what am I going to be putting this on? So this is a rock texture. I'd be putting it on, let's say I was going to go for a small type of stone, something more circular. So I'm going to start by creating this on a spherical object. So if we press on 3D, I'm going to go to new mesh from layer and we're going to go to mesh preset. And this is what I'm saying about think about your end goal, what you're going to be putting this onto. So I'm going to put this onto a sphere. So let's jump ahead and click that and give it a sec to do its thing. Yes, we would like you to switch. And what should happen now is it's going to create a sphere with this material wrapped around it. And it did. Awesome. There it is. And immediately, alright, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. But let's select our 3D. I'm going to select the sphere. I'm going to rotate around it by hovering over this third little thing. The second thing that's like a cube. And rotate around until we see our seam. And there it is, as obvious as day. This gross line straight down. So what we want to do is we're going to select our material and we want to fix that. And what we're going to do is we could use like the paintbrush, almost like painting onto it, but we're not going to. We're going to use the stamp tool. So if you've not used this before, quickly what it does is it takes the information from one area and you can print it onto another place, like stamping in ink and moving across. But what we need to do is up here in our paint section, change this to projection. And we're just going to paint straight onto our diffuse. Because that's what we want. We want to paint straight into our diffuse. So let's do this. So I'm going to hold Alt and select my area. Before we start out, play with your brush. There's going to be like a few different settings, like a hard brush. You can see it's just taking that information there, and then I can so just like paint that straight on and create that, and that looks okay. And what we've got is if we went for something really soft, like an airbrush, that's going to create a sort of feathered out look. So again, depending on sort of what you're working on, that's going to affect what you're doing. So I mean, yeah, let's just go for this, but give it a bit of hardness so it's got slightly less fall off. And when you're doing this, try not to just like drag down. I know the temptation is going to be there just to sort of drag, but it'll look a bit sort of gross if you do that. And just pitter potter around and drop that sort of texture down, and you can see immediately it's already starting to sort of hide it. And all of a sudden that seam has gone. But let's go into there and rotate it around because the seam's going to go all the way up and down. So I'm going to select my arrows again and just rotate it to the top. And there we have this gross, nasty, ugly section. But do the same. Select our material. Shortcut is S for your stamp tool. Select your information. And start painting. Cool. And what we've got now is sort of this sphere with that texture on that looks pretty much seamless. It's a lot harder to spot the seams. Whereas if you took your initial texture and did that, we had this big gross line and it just looked awful. So what we want to do now is we want to just extract that. We don't really want the object, but the simplest way to do this is to go to 3D export your 3D object, and I'm going to save, I want my texture as a PNG, and I'm going to hit OK. Cool. And I've just imported this back into Photoshop, switch back to Essentials, and as you can see, we've now got this sort of gross blurriness around the edges, but that's because of how the sphere works and pulling it around. And because we thought about the end shape, it looks gross when we've flattened it out, but you know, even looking at a flat globe as a map looks kind of weird flattened out. And that would work now if we wanted to jump and drop that straight back onto a sphere. That's fine. It would automatically straight away look a lot better. You know, we wouldn't really have the seams. Everything would sort of be smooth. And so I've got no problems there. What we would sort of have a problem with though, let me just go back to where it's flat. Second layer. If we wanted to then put this on, say, a cylinder. So let's try. And we drop that into a cylinder. And it should look seamless around the edge. Let's just grab that, rotate around. Yeah, looks seamless. No problems anywhere around there. But what we do have is this sort of gross, blurry section around the top. And that's because when we start, what we started with, when we started over here with our flat material, guys, we've not got it anymore. But what we started with is because we put it in a sphere. If we decide to put that straight onto a cylinder, we would have a quick flat material straight away that would be totally fit for purpose, and we wouldn't have this around. So that's why it's important to think about your end goal. So there you go, just a quick tutorial on using Photoshop's projection to create seamless textures, stuff that look really good. If you like that and you found that useful, you're a fan of our content, remember to check out our Patreon. It supports us and it helps us to create these videos. So thanks for your time, guys.